this is Georgie. Welcome to Georgie's Room of Rock. How's everyone doing out there today? Hope everyone's doing well. Having a good week, having a nice weekend. It's been a long week, and the weekend's here. I've worked a little bit today, but now I'm here doing a video for you guys. And today's video is 15 or so albums that shaped my musical taste. And I've seen a couple people talk about, so Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility talked about 20 albums that he adores, or in his life that shaped him, his musical taste. And Ron Haggerty did it from Vinyl Custodian, 10 albums that meant a lot to him over the years. So I'm doing that. I think I just gotta do 10. I'm like, maybe I gotta do this, and I kept thinking of all these things, and I'm like, oh, I'll do 15. And so that's what I'm doing, 15 or so. I mean, didn't really count, but something like that. So 15 albums to shape my musical taste for my life. Sorry, just a little itchy. So first, a little background on how I got into music. I've listened to music since I was a little kid, and the first record or 45 I would listen to as a kid. So I'm going to go with this before I go through my 15 hard rock and metal albums here. When I was a little kid, the first record I had a 45 of Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms, and I used to play that in my little tiny little crappy little one little speaker this big. Stereo was like a TV box kind of thing, like a kid's toy. You'd slide a little projector thing in, and it would come out. We used to watch Disney cartoons and stuff like that. But this I used to play on my in my house, my room. I had that little record. I played Jingle Bell Rock all the time, over and over and over. It's still my favorite Christmas song. So, and from there, my mom had a bunch of 45s from the 50s. So I used to listen to like Bill Haley, Shake, Rattle and Roll, Rock Around the Clock, and all that stuff. Elvis, of course, and Little Richard, Chuck Berry, all those, oldies, the Coasters, all that stuff, all that 50s. I still love 50s music because of that. My mom was a real big into that. So, and that's, I got the music thing from her, from all those records I used to spin, all those little 45s. I still have the 45 somewhere. Maybe someday I'll show them, but she was really into that. So I got into a lot of music. And the Beach Boys, too. She had the Beach Boys Endless Summer on cassette, which I bought from her when I was a kid. I loved playing that. So, my dad had different tastes. He liked more he liked music. He liked music. But he liked what do you call it? Like, he liked the themes of Star Wars and Rocky, things like that, which I love that too. I have CDs of that too. But that was more his taste. My dad. My mom was more into that kind of stuff. She wasn't really into like anything past that too much. So I started getting into music myself. The first other 45s I bought, I remember buying Jack and Diane from John Cougar, and what do you call it, Dirty Laundry from Don Henley. So I still got those too, those 45s. But then other stuff I started getting into just little by little. And then once I hit 83, I remember it was December of 83. I talked about this before, and this is another story. I've told this before. And my sister's watching some show on some dance show, and they showed Kiss on there doing Lick It Up. They just came out, just took off the makeup. It was a big deal at the time. I wasn't into Kiss before that or anything heavy like that. And I really loved this song. And bought the cassette. Here is my original cassette of Lick It Up, which has been played a million times. Here it is. And still one of my favorite albums ever. Just really just started the ball rolling, this album, Lick It Up. I mean, I love the image. Without the makeup was really cool, I thought, So the first album I got was not makeup. So I remember it was a big deal. Love this album to death, and just really started everything going. Was this album? Was this cassette? So time went on. I got whatever Kiss album I could get my hands on. That's all I listened to for a year and a half was Kiss. That was it. Nothing else. Listen, nothing else. That was it. And then I'm like, well, I got to listen to something else. And then another band came on. They played on the radio. I'm not on the radio. On the radio, playing the radio, played on MTV all the time before Headbangers Ball. And I'm gonna show a bunch of stuff. I got vinyl too. I'm gonna show vinyl CDs, all kinds of stuff. This is my original vinyl, and that was this album here. I bought this. Rats Down at the Cellar. It's my original album here. So it's just not nothing fancy, but yeah, this one round and round on the radio all the time, and I really, really loved it. So so I just bought the record. I started getting into Rat. Then this is the Kiss and Rat all the time, but this album especially was great. This has got such great tracks on it too. Whatever, look it up, Hell's Breaking Loose, all that. And on the Eighth Day, those are favorite songs here. But for this one, it's always been Around and Round, and Lack of Communication is always my two favorite songs on here. But the whole album is classic. But this one got me growing. This is my second album I'm going to put up for this list here. But that got me into the stuff. And then third band I got, again, another one that played to death on radio and MTV and got me into it. And my original copy, Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. Love the Shot of D here. Again, original copy here. Love the record. There you go. But again, I love the song. You don't want, I want to, we're not going to take it, of course, and The Price and I Want to Rock and SMF, all the songs. So I fell in love with Twisted Sister too, and started getting all their stuff. They didn't have a lot of stuff though back then. It was just the 3 albums out there before this, and but that's the other album that Twisted Sister, third band I got into, a third record that meant a lot to me, got me into all this music. And the other band I got into not too long after that. I remember going on went to see my uncle in Tennessee, and there's not much to do there, but my friend gave me a cassette copy of 2 albums by this band, and again, loved it. But this is the one I bought first because I really liked it. And that was Motley Crue. Shout out to Devil. They look cool there. They look cool then. Gatefold, of course. They look like that. That was pretty cool when you're like, starting to get music, Very Kiss-like in their look a little bit, too. But anyway, this is a badass record. It's still a great album. They make fun of the Crew now, but I don't care. I still love it. Of course, Shout Out to Devil, Looks Like Kill, 2 of my favorite songs on Red Hot. Great stuff. So, Motley Crue, Shout Out to Devil. Got me. That's a very important album to me, too. And then that got me into all those other bands. I got into all that glam stuff, all Lawrence and all that stuff. And then because Kiss got me to the more classic stuff like Aerosmith and stuff like that. And then the other band I got into, which at that time too, and I got the cassette of that too. My friend used to play it at his house all the time on, I think he taped it off the radio. And I bought the cassette a while back later, but AC/DC Back in Black, original cassette here. There you go. It's all yellowed now and stuff. But yeah, Back in Black, another, it's a classic. I don't think I'll go over the songs, it, but I love Hell's Bells and the title track. Shoot to Thrill, one of my favorite songs. So again, Back in Black, another album, but just, really struck me and got me into the music I listened to here. So, and then a couple of years later, like I said, I got into all that stuff for years, all that glam stuff, all that stuff I was listening to. I didn't get into anything heavier than that. And then, I think it was 89 or something, maybe. And I got 2 albums at once for this one. And I made a show this one, but first album I got, because I never had anything but the band, was this. Priest Live. Not the greatest album cover. Still there on the back. This is my original record I got. And then you got the gatefold in here. And the record's coming out. Okay. There you go. Very Kiss-like. Very Kiss Alive 2-like. But again, I guess more like a greatest hits of the time for Judas Priest. So, you got Head Out on the Highway. Metal Gods, Breaking the Law, of course. Love Bites. Love Bites is the song that really struck me with that one. That one I liked a lot. Turbo Lover, played a lot on radio. Free Will Burning, the song, You Got Nothing Coming. Just a great album. So, great live album. Really is an underrated live album, in my opinion. So, this one got me into the stuff I'm into, too. But in the same day, I also bought this one, Master Puppets, which you see hanging behind me. So, that's my original record behind me. So, Master Puppets, I bought the same day as Priest Live. So, I never got anything thrash, and this is the first kind of thrash album I bought. And that was like, wow, this is really, really different. I mean, I didn't hear much on the radio from them, and that was like talking about Metallica all the time. I heard one, and that was about it. But I love this one, Master Puppets, Battery, Thing That Should Not Be, Disposable Heroes, Damage Inc. So yeah, that really, another album that got me into it was this one, was Master Puppets and Priest Live there. So, and then time goes by, get into other things, get into other music, and then I discovered this one. Yeah, these are all late. Like I'm late to the party with all these bands here, and I just saw this video for on MTV. They played a lot, and that got me into this. And one of my favorite singers of all time, and the late great Ren James Dio with "The Last in Line," which I got again, not original, but the original CD I bought. with We Rock, which I love, the title track, and One Night in the City, Mystery, Egypt, The Chains Are On. Turned to be a huge Dio fan. I bought any Dio album I could get. And because I was so naive, I didn't know stuff. And I said, oh, well, and I didn't realize it was in Black Sabbath, so I just bought the Black Sabbath stuff with him. So Heaven and Hell, another important album. And of course, my favorite song is on here, but Dio sings is Children of the Sea. It's one of my favorite songs. But Heaven and Hell, Neon Nights, Lonely is the Word. Great album, you know it. And that got me into Black Sabbath. I didn't really get anything from Black Sabbath at all. Wasn't into it. And that, because I got into Black Sabbath, I said, well, I got to get the Ozzy stuff too, you know? So I didn't know much about the Ozzy stuff, so I bought this awesome compilation. We sold the soul for rock and roll. Played this to death. It's got all the songs. I think this is a little compressed issue, though. I think the record probably had more songs on it. But I love the title track. Love Black Sabbath, the song. I love Paranoid, War Pigs, Iron Man, because they weren't overdone to death. I didn't hear them a lot, so they weren't overdone. Excuse me. Sweet Leaf, Children of the Grave, of course. Love Sabbath, Black Sabbath. NIB, Snowblind, great songs on this. Great compilation. So that got me into Sabbath. So, you know, it was one of those things that just happened gradually. And then, again, late to the party, coming up. I think my sister's boyfriend was into this band, and he introduced me to them. Even I knew about them, I wasn't into them, though, because I didn't into a lot of stuff. But I was in college by this point. And I got into this one from him, and it was Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills. And Run to the Hills is a song I heard, but Number of the Beast is the album I bought. And of course, it's got Run to the Hills on it, and Hallowed Be Thy Name, and Invaders, and Gangland, all those freaking all those fucking great songs. So that another one, important album, Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. It got me into Maiden. Now this is just great stuff, and you know, and from that, I started getting into Sabbath and Maiden and stuff. But the Sabbath, I started liking all that little heavy doom stuff. So that's where I discovered some doom metal. And one of the first albums I bought, and it's a little more. I guess I like it a little bit, not more, but it sounds more like Sabbath. I guess that's why I liked it. And that was Saint Vitus with 5. This is from 1980. I should only the songs on here. 1990. 95? Yeah, 90. But love this one. So really got the Saint Vitus from this. And just bought a few other albums and really got into the doom kind of things. I got into them. It got me into Candlemass and, you know, those kind of Candlemass is more grandiose with their spectrum, with the way they do things, more than Saint Vitus. Saint Vitus is a little more primitive, I guess. But it got me into Trouble, those kind of bands. I love the doom metal stuff. And then because of the thrash stuff I was getting into, I started getting into other thrash bands then. After I got into Metallica, I started getting into Megadeth and Slayer and Anthrax, all those bands. You know, Creator, all those kind of heavy bands, Sodom. And then one day I was out and I'm looking for something new to listen to. And I came across this album, Bolt Thrower. Didn't know anything about it. And if you know heard the story before, I got the album, put it on, it was like, oh my gosh, one of those death metal albums. It's not my, I don't want to listen to that. So I didn't listen to it. And then I kept, for some reason, just looking at it and like kept going back to it. Just the cover really grabbed me. And I kept going back to listening to it. I'm like, you know, this is really good. And then I'm like, that was it. I turned into Bolt Thrower and got all the Bolt Thrower stuff. Got bands like Benediction, which sounded a lot like them too. And then all of them just started buying death metal. You know, not as much. Maybe got to Death, Obituary, those bands. Nothing too heavy. Now I like all kinds of stuff. But this one really got me into it. This Bolt Thrower got me into death metal. This was great stuff. And then because of that, I also got into this other band here from this compilation because I know nothing about them either. They're more avant-garde, a little bit, not really death metal, a little bit black metal in them. Kind of had the leanings of their early material, but this one I bought with Celtic Frost, Thirst, Parched for Thirst, I am and Dying, something like that. What the hell, I can't read it. Parched for Thirst, Am I and Dying. That's what it is. Such a weird title. But it's a compilation. It's got really great stuff on this one. Let me get my glasses on for this one. I was a Charagon and Under a Pile and Stone is like the new stuff. It was supposed to come out for the album after this, but they never did. Descent to Babylon, Return to the Eve. They got stuff from Cold Lake on here, Cherry Orchards. It's got the Wings of Solitude on this, Journey to Fear unreleased track. In the Chapel in the Moonlight, which is a Dean Martin song, which is pretty funny. They did that, but yes, there's another one. Another important album was this compilation by Celtic Frost. Really loved it. Played this to death too. We got on to Celtic Frost albums because of that. So very important to my musical taste here. And around that time too, I got into this other band, turned to be one of my favorite bands. Again, like really late to the party. This is an older band, but I got into Led Zeppelin from a friend of mine who was really a big Zeppelin fan. I got Led Zeppelin too because I loved Whole Lotta Love. And this is my original cassette I bought. And it's not an original cassette, but it's my original cassette. And of course, it's got all the great songs on this one. The Lemon Song and What Is It, What Should Never Be. Ramble On. Great stuff. So, got into Zeppelin because of that. And that really shaped pretty much everything else, like all the stuff. I got into the thrash metal, all the things that thrash metal got me into the death metal, and then Sabbath got me into doom metal, and then Celtic Frost helped me get into the black metal, which took years later, but it kind of did because some of their albums were kind of like that. So that's really it for the hard rock album. So that's the end of the list, but that's the end of the list for hard rock because there's one more album to show that is not a hard rock album, but I got into them years later too. And one of my favorite bands ever since. And in my opinion, without this band, you don't have a lot of the older bands that you listen to from the 70s without them. And that was the Beatles. My friend Sean loved the Beatles. He got me into this, and I got Sgt. Pepper because I love Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. So, yeah, so Sgt. Pepper and the Beatles got me. I got more into the Beatles and love the Beatles. And it's funny because it's not like heavy or anything. But so many bands are inspired by the Beatles. Whether if you people don't like the Beatles, I get it. Maybe it's some of your thing, but without them, you didn't have Sabbath, you didn't have the Stones, you didn't have the Who, you didn't have Zeppelin, you didn't have all these other bands, Deep Purple, you didn't have any of those bands because the Beatles influenced so many people. And so it's a very important in the world of rock music. It was Kiss too, and all that stuff. It's great stuff. So anyway, those are my 15 albums or so that got me into the musical journey I've been on since 1983. Started with that first Kiss album, and it's blossomed to all these CDs, all these music I listen to. And yeah, that's it. So that was my video. I hope you liked it. And in the comments, tell me albums you got into that really got into music, what you really adored, and what you liked, and what really got into into what you listened to. Because there's so many different things. It can be any genre. I don't care if it's whatever you like. It doesn't have to be metal. Only if you like other stuff too. You like country. If you like whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't make fun of anything people listen to. You like what you like. And people make fun of it. It's bullshit. Just like what you like. You can like metal, and you can like country, and you can like whatever you want. Whatever. But this is what I like. This is my thing. I might be a one-trick pony, but that's what I like. So anyway, that's the end of my video here. Again, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe and comment. Again, I love hearing from you guys. And that's it. Keep rocking metal alive, guys. We'll see you next time.